Motivation says, I feel inspired today. Discipline says, I work whether I feel inspired or not. That's power. And power is built through repetition. Small victories repeated daily. That's how empires are built. Brick by brick, not overnight. Everybody wants overnight success. Nobody wants overnight sacrifice. Nobody wants the lonely mornings. Nobody wants the exhausting nights. Nobody wants the years of invisible effort. But invisible effort creates visible results. You see the championship. You don't see the years of training. You see the money. You don't see the sleepless nights. You see the confidence. You don't see the pain that created it. Pain changes people. Pain either destroys you or introduces you to your real self. Some of you are too comfortable to discover who you could become. That's why adversity is necessary. Necessary. Adversity forces growth. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire creates steel. Struggle creates strength. And the strongest people you will ever meet usually suffered quietly. That quiet suffering built endurance. Listen to me. Endurance is rare now. People quit too fast. One rejection, they quit. One failure, they quit. One bad month, they quit. But success belongs to the stubborn, the people who refuse to stop, the people who continue after embarrassment, after disappointment, after heartbreak, after failure. That's who wins. Not the most talented, the most committed. The most committed. Because commitment outlasts emotion. Anybody can feel motivated for one day. Very few people can stay disciplined for years. Years. That's the word people hate. Years of repetition, years of sacrifice, years of improvement. Everybody wants transformation. Nobody wants the process. But the process is everything. The process shapes identity. And identity determines destiny. If you see yourself as weak, you will move weak. If you see yourself as average, you will tolerate average behavior. But if you decide, truly decide, that your life must become extraordinary, your standards change. Suddenly laziness becomes unacceptable. Suddenly excuses sound embarrassing. Suddenly wasting time feels painful. Because your vision becomes stronger than your comfort. That's the shift. And once that shift happens, you become dangerous. Dangerous people do not need supervision. Dangerous people hold themselves accountable. Dangerous people execute regardless of emotion. That's leadership. Leadership is not controlling others. Leadership is mastering yourself. Can you control your mind when negativity appears? It appears. Can you control your actions when laziness whispers? Can you stay focused when distractions attack? That's leadership. Most people are ruled by feelings. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel discouraged, they disappear. If they feel uncertain, they hesitate. But feelings are unreliable. Feelings change daily. Purpose stays. Mission stays. Vision stays. And if your vision is strong enough, you will survive seasons that break weaker people. Because seasons change. There will be seasons of momentum. Seasons where everything works. Money flows. Confidence rises. Doors open. But there will also be seasons of silence. Seasons where nothing moves. You pray, nothing happens. You work, nothing changes. You sacrifice, and still feel invisible. That season is dangerous because that's where doubt attacks. That's where average people surrender. But listen carefully. The silent season is where roots grow. A tree with no roots falls during storms. So when life slows down, grow deeper. Study more. Train more. Strengthen your mindset. Prepare harder. Because eventually opportunity arrives, and when it arrives, you better be ready. Luck favors preparation, not excuses. Preparation. That means sharpening your skills before the opportunity appears. Most people prepare after opportunity knocks. Champions prepare before the knock comes. That's why they seem unlucky. But it was never luck. It was discipline nobody saw. Look at me. You have greatness inside you. But greatness is heavy. That's why most people never carry it. Greatness demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands obsession. An obsession scares average people. They call focused people a crazy. Good. Every great person looked crazy before they became respected, because average minds cannot understand extreme vision. So stop trying to explain yourself to people committed to mediocrity. Move differently. Think differently. Work differently. Work differently. And protect your energy. Energy matters. Who you spend time with matters. Your environment matters. Negative environments destroy ambition. Weak conversations weaken vision. It's why you must guard your mind aggressively. Stop feeding your brain garbage. Stop consuming negativity every day. Every day. Stop entertaining people who celebrate weakness. Your mind is soil. Whatever you plant repeatedly grows. Plant doubt, fear grows. Plant discipline, power grows. Plant excuses, failure grows. Plant consistency, success grows. The choice is yours every single day. Choice is yours every single day. And make no mistake, you are making choices every day whether you realize it or not. Choosing distraction is a choice. Choosing comfort is a choice. Choosing procrastination is a choice. And those choices become habits. Habits become identity. Identity becomes destiny. That's why discipline matters so much. Discipline protects your future from your temporary emotions. Without discipline, you become reactive. You become impulsive. You become weak under pressure. But disciplined people remain stable, calm, focused, strategic. That's power. Weight. And the world respects power. Not fake power, not loud power. Real power, the power of self-control, the power of consistency, the power of keeping your word even when nobody is watching. Integrity matters. Character matters, because eventually life tests everybody. And when pressure arrives, titles disappear. Money disappears. Ego disappears. Only character remains. So build character now. Build integrity now. Build discipline now. Because when the storm arrives, you will lean on whatever you practice daily. And storms are coming. Life will test your patience, your loyalty, your focus, your courage. But tests reveal preparation. So prepare every day, not occasionally, daily. That's the secret. Consistency, not intensity. Anybody can work hard for one day. Can you stay locked in for years? Can you stay disciplined when nobody notices? Can you keep building while feeling unseen? That's rare. That's greatness. Most people stop too early. They quit one chapter before the breakthrough, one step before momentum, one season before harvest. Do not quit too early. You have survived too much to stop now. Think about everything you already overcame. The heartbreaks, the betrayals, the nights you cried silently, the moments you almost gave up. Yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still fighting. That means something. You are stronger than you think, but strength unused becomes weakness. So use it. Apply it. Push yourself, challenge yourself, demand more from yourself. Because nobody is coming to save you. Read that again in your soul. Nobody is coming. That's not negative. That's empowering, because it means your future is in your hands, not your parents, not your boss, not society. You hold the pen. You choose whether your story becomes tragedy or triumph. And listen carefully. You still have time, but not forever. That clock is moving. Every day matters now. Every decision matters now. Every habit matters now. Stop acting like life is unlimited. It isn't. One day your opportunities end. One day your energy fades. One day your time expires. So move now, build now, become now. And mediocrity is dangerous because it feels comfortable. Average feels safe, but safe rarely changes lives. You were not born to stay safe. You were born to grow. Growth requires friction. Wrath requires discomfort. Growth requires pain. That's why the gym hurts. That's why studying feels exhausting. That's why building a business feels stressful. That's why leadership feels lonely. Pressure is proof that transformation is happening. A muscle tears before it grows stronger. Remember that the pain is not always punishment. Sometimes pain is preparation. Some of you are frustrated because life became difficult. Good. Difficulty introduces you to your real strength. Easy situations create fragile people. Hardship creates depth, and depth matters. Anybody can look confident when life is smooth, but when chaos arrives, when money disappears. When support disappears, when the door closes, who are you then? That's the real test, because character is not built during applause. Character is built during isolation, during rejection, during struggle. During those nights where nobody sees your tears, but you still wake up the next morning ready to fight again. That's strength. Not talking, not posting quotes, not pretending. Real strength is endurance. Can you endure pressure without becoming bitter? Can you endure failure without quitting? Can you endure loneliness without abandoning your mission? That's what separates the extraordinary from the average. Average people stop when it becomes uncomfortable. Extraordinary people adapt. They adjust. They evolve. But they do not stop. Listen to me carefully. Voice 2. You must become mentally dangerous. Not angry. Not reckless. Focused. Focused people are dangerous because distractions lose power over them. When everybody else is wasting time, focused people are building skill. When everybody else is gossiping, focused people are improving. When everybody else is complaining, focused people are executing. That's why focus is wealth. Your attention is valuable, and this world is fighting for it every second. Notifications, entertainment, drama, noise, all of it is competing for your mind. Because if they control your attention, they control your future. Guard your focus aggressively. Turn off the noise, protect your energy, protect your environment, because environment shapes behavior. If you surround yourself with weak thinking, your standards drop. If you surround yourself with disciplined people, your standards rise. Energy transfers. Mindsets transfer. Habits transfer. That's why your circle matters. Some people are draining your future. Every conversation with them weakens your ambition. Every hour around them lowers your standards. And deep inside, you know it. Stop ignoring what your spirit already understands. Not everybody can go where you're going. Some people only exist in your life for a season. Learn to release people without hatred. Growth requires separation. You cannot become powerful while staying attached to environments designed to keep you small. Look at me. Your future requires a different version of you. The current version cannot carry the next level. That's why transformation feels painful. You are shedding identities, old habits, old fears, old limitations, and shedding hurts, but remaining weak hurts more. Remaining stuck hurts more. Remaining average hurts more. So choose your pain wisely, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, because one creates growth, the other creates suffering, and regret is heavy. Regret follows people into old age. You can hear it in their voices. I wish I tried. You wish I started sooner. I wish I believed in myself. Do not become that person. Fight now, build now, move now, even if progress feels slow. Listen carefully. Slow progress is still progress is still progress. Do not underestimate small daily victories. A single workout matters. A single disciplined morning matters. A single focused hour matters. Because repeated consistently, small actions become massive transformation. That's how mountains move. Not instantly. One stone at a time. Most people fail because they underestimate consistency. They chase motivation instead of systems. Motivation fades. Systems remain. Build routines strong enough to carry you through low seasons will come. There will be mornings you feel empty. Days you feel exhausted. Weeks where exhausted. Weeks where doubt whispers loudly. And during those moments, your habits must become stronger than your emotions. That's mastery. Mastery is doing the work regardless of mood. Mood is temporary. Mission is permanent. And once your mission becomes clear, distractions lose their attraction. You stop wasting energy proving yourself to people. You stop seeking validation. You stop explaining your vision. You just work. Silently, relentlessly, obsessively. That's where greatness lives. In repetition, in discipline, in silence. People see success and think it happens suddenly. No, success is usually invisible for years. Years of unseen effort. Years of private sacrifice. Years of consistency nobody applauded. Then one day the world notices the result and calls it luck. But you know the truth. You remember the mornings nobody saw, the nights nobody understood, the battles nobody knew you were fighting. That's why your scars matter. Your scars are proof you survived. And survival builds wisdom. Wisdom builds strength. Strength builds leadership. That's why your struggle has purpose. Do not waste your pain. Learn from it. Grow from it. Use it as fuel. Some people let pain destroy them. Others let pain transform them. Transformation is a decision. Every day you choose victim or victor, excuses or execution, comfort or growth, weakness or discipline. And those choices define your destiny. So stop waiting for someone to save you. Save yourself, lead yourself, push yourself, because nobody can want your future more than you do. Nobody can breathe your vision into existence except you. You must become obsessed with improvement. Not perfection, improvement. Perfection is impossible. Growth is possible. Growth is possible. Growth is possible. Get 1% better every day. Read more, train harder, think deeper, speak stronger, move smarter. Little by little, your identity changes, and identity is everything. Because once you truly become disciplined, success stops being accidental. It becomes inevitable, not immediate. Not immediate, but inevitable. If you stay consistent long enough, results must appear. That's the law of effort. Compounds, discipline compounds, knowledge compounds, and eventually your life looks completely different from the person you used to be. That's transformation. But transformation demands patience. You cannot rush greatness. A tree takes years before it gives shade. A warrior trains for years before battle. A leader grows through seasons of pain before people trust their voice. Respect the process. Stop trying to skip stages. The struggle is preparing you for the weight of your future, because success without preparation destroys people. Money amplifies character. Power amplifies habits. Fame amplifies weakness. If your foundation is weak, success will expose you. That's why discipline matters before success arrives. Build the foundation first. Strengthen your mind first. Master yourself first. Then success becomes sustainable. Listen carefully. You do not need to become somebody else. You need to become the strongest version of yourself. The disciplined version. The focused version. The fearless version. The version that keeps promises to himself. Because self-trust changes everything. When you trust yourself, confidence rises naturally. Not fake confidence, real confidence, the kind built through evidence. Evidence created by discipline. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens identity. Every promise you break weakens identity. So keep your word to yourself first. Wake up when you said you would. Train when you said you would. Study when you said you would. Execute when you said you would. Integrity begins internally. And internal discipline eventually creates external success. That's the formula. Simple, not easy. Nothing powerful is easy. But difficult paths create powerful people. So stop searching for shortcuts. Shortcuts usually cut short your potential. Take the long road. Master the fundamentals. Build slowly. Build correctly. Build permanently. Because temporary success means nothing. You want lasting impact? Lasting respect, lasting legacy, and legacy is earned through consistency over time. Not hype, not talk. Work, focused, disciplined, relentless work. Now breathe. Look at your life honestly. Where are you wasting time? Where are you playing small? Where are you making excuses? Face the truth. Creates freedom, and freedom begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. Lying to yourself. You know what needs to change. You already know. Now act on it. No more waiting, no more doubting, no more hiding from your potential. The next version of you is waiting. Become him, become her, and make your life impossible to ignore. Listen to me. Average is not safe. Average is a slow death. People think average means a comfortable. No. Average means you gave up on the person you were supposed to become. You wake up, you scroll, you complain, you make excuses, you blame the economy, you blame your past, you blame your family, you blame your luck. Meanwhile, somebody with less talent than you is out there winning because they decided to stop crying and start building. That's the difference. The world doesn't reward potential. The graveyard is full of potential. The world rewards execution. You keep talking about what you could do, but your future is built on what you actually do when nobody is clapping for you. Can you work without applause? Can you sacrifice without recognition? Can you stay disciplined when there's no guarantee it will work? That's the real test. The real test. Everybody wants the crown. Nobody wants the pressure that comes with it. Everybody wants the trophy picture. Nobody wants the lonely nights. Everybody wants the spotlight. Nobody wants the darkness required to earn it. But darkness builds champions. The gym at 4 a.m. builds champions. The studying builds champions. The rejection builds champions. The heartbreak builds champions. The failure builds champions. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. The problem is that most people run from pain. They spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. And because they avoid discomfort, they also avoid greatness. You cannot become powerful while living addicted to comfort. Comfort makes you weak. Comfort makes you lazy. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed. It isn't. Tomorrow is promised to nobody. That's why you must attack today like your life depends on it. Because one day it will. Look at the lion. The lion doesn't ask permission to hunt. The lion doesn't wait for motivation. The lion moves because survival demands it. And your dream, your future, your family's future, that demands action. I think. Not excuses, not emotions, action. You keep waiting to feel ready. Listen carefully, you become ready by moving. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement despite fear. The brave man is not the man who never shakes. The brave man is the one who shakes and still steps forward. That's power. Power is getting up when your body says quit. Power is continuing when your heart is broken. Power is believing when the evidence says stop. Anybody can fight when they're winning. Champions fight when they're bleeding. You want to know why some people never become great? Because they negotiate with their excuses. I'm tired. So what? I'm stressed. So what? Nobody supports me. So what? You think the world cares? The world keeps spinning. Your bills don't stop because you're sad. Your dreams don't work because you're emotional. Your goals don't magically build themselves because you had a hard childhood. At some point, you must take responsibility for your life. That's the moment the transformation begins. The day you stop blaming everyone else is the day you become dangerous. Dangerous people don't complain. Dangerous people adapt. They get hit and keep moving. They lose and learn. They fail and return stronger. Life is a battlefield, not a playground. And if you walk into war soft, emotional, distracted, and undisciplined, life will destroy you. That's why discipline matters. Discipline is protection. Discipline protects your future from your temporary emotions, because emotions change every hour. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you feel worthless. If you rely on feelings, your life will always collapse. But systems survive, habits survive, routines survive. That's why the most successful people on earth don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They wake up before excuses wake up. They move before doubt has time to speak. They attack the day before fear enters the room. And you must do the same. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Wrong question. Ask, how do I become disciplined enough to move even when motivation disappears? Because motivation is temporary. Discipline is identity. A motivated man talks. A disciplined man works. There's a difference. The disciplined man understands something most people never learn. Small actions repeated daily become unstoppable power. One workout won't change your body. One book won't change your mind. One business move won't change your future. But repeated daily, that changes everything. Consistency is where greatness lives, not intensity. Consistency. Can you keep going after the excitement fades? That's the question. Because the beginning is easy. Cited in the beginning. The beginning has energy. The beginning has energy. The beginning has emotion. The beginning has support. But the middle? The middle is lonely. That's where dreams go to die. The middle is where people disappear. The middle is where excuses multiply. The middle is where discipline becomes real. Can you survive the middle? Can you keep building when nobody notices? Can you keep grinding when nobody believes? Thus, can you keep showing up when results are invisible? That's what separates legends from average people. Average people need immediate rewards. Champions understand delayed gratification. They understand seeds take time. You don't plant a seed today and eat fruit tomorrow. No, fruit tomorrow. There's watering. There's waiting. There's patience. And during that season, most people quit because nothing looks like it's happening. But underground, the roots are growing. Remember that. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. The roots matter more than the fruit. Because weak roots collapse under pressure. That's why life tests you before it promotes you. Can you handle pressure? Can you handle criticism? Can you handle isolation? Because success amplifies who you already are. Money doesn't build character, it reveals it. Pressure doesn't destroy character, it exposes it. And if your foundation is weak, success will crush you. That's why you must build internally before externally. You must become mentally strong before financially successful. Otherwise, success becomes your destruction. Look around. How many people ruin their lives because they gained power without discipline? How many talented people destroyed themselves because they lack control? Talent without discipline is a loaded weapon in the hands of a child. That's why character matters. Character matters. Character is who you are when nobody's watching. Not on social media, not in public, not when cameras are rolling. Who are you alone? Can you trust yourself alone? That's integrity. Integrity means your private life and public life match. No masks, no performance, no pretending. Real power is internal. A weak man needs attention. A strong man needs purpose. That's why silence is dangerous. When a man becomes silent and focused, everything changes. Because now his energy is no longer leaking everywhere. Now he's locked in. No gossip, no drama, no distractions, just mission. Mission creates power. You need a mission bigger than your feelings. Because if your purpose is weak, your discipline will collapse. Why are you building? Why are you fighting? Why are you sacrificing? You need an answer, and that answer must burn inside your soul. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you can become more. Whatever it is, hold on to it. Because life will test your reason. There will be mornings you want to quit. Days you feel invisible. Nights you question everything. In those moments, purpose keeps you alive. Without purpose, pain feels meaningless. But when purpose exists, pain becomes fuel. Now listen carefully. You cannot become extraordinary while thinking like everybody else. Stop copying weak people. Weak people love excuses. Weak people love gossip. Weak people love comfort. Weak people love distraction. Strong people love growth. Strong people love discipline. Strong people love truth. Strong people love responsibility. Choose your circle carefully, because energy transfers. So, if everybody around you is lazy, eventually you become lazy. If everybody around you complains, eventually you complain. Environment shapes identity. That's why eagles don't fly with pigeons. Protect your mind. Your mind is sacred territory. Stop feeding it garbage. What are you watching every day? What are you listening to every day? Who are you allowing to influence your thinking? Because whatever enters your mind repeatedly becomes your reality. Feed your mind strength. Feed your mind wisdom. Feed your mind discipline. And slowly, your entire life changes. You don't need a miracle. You need standards. Raise your standards and your life rises with them. Demand more from yourself. Stop accepting weakness. Stop tolerating laziness. Stop rewarding your own bad habits. Hold yourself accountable. That's maturity. Children do what feels good. Adults do what is necessary. And greatness requires sacrifice. You will sacrifice sleep. You will sacrifice comfort. You will sacrifice entertainment. You will sacrifice fake friendships. But in exchange, you gain freedom. Freedom is earned. Nobody hands freedom to weak people. Weak people become controlled. Controlled by emotions, controlled by debt, controlled by addiction, controlled by fear. But disciplined people become sovereign. They own themselves. And the man who owns himself cannot be conquered. That's the goal. Not popularity, not validation. Mastery. Master your emotions. Master your habits. Master your focus. Master your mind. Because once the mind is conquered, the outside world becomes easier to conquer too. The greatest battle is internal, always. That's why some people have money but no peace, fame but no joy, success but no fulfillment. Because they built externally and ignored internally. Don't make that mistake. Build both. Build your body, build your spirit, build your discipline, build your finances, build your wisdom. Become complete, not perfect, complete. And understand this, you are never finished. The moment you think you've arrived, you begin to decline. Stay hungry, stay teachable, stay dangerous. The wolf climbing the hill is always hungrier than the wolf standing on top. Never lose your hunger, because hunger creates movement, and movement creates momentum. Momentum changes lives. One disciplined day creates another. One good decision creates another. One victory builds confidence for the next. Soon, you become unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. That's the transformation. Life never becomes less difficult. You simply become more capable. That's why suffering can become strength. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire purifies gold. And struggle reveals warriors. Maybe this season is not breaking you. Maybe it's building you. Maybe the pain has purpose. Maybe the delay is preparation, because sometimes God isolates you before elevating you. Sometimes the loneliness is training. Sometimes the silence is sharpening you. Don't waste that season. Use it. Build quietly. Move strategically. And when your moment comes, arrive with undeniable force. Not noise. Not excuses. Results. Speak a language nobody can argue with. At the end of the day, the world respects execution. Not ideas, not promises, not intentions. Execution. So execute, wake up earlier, train harder, study longer, focus deeper, speak less, work more. And when everybody else gets distracted, you stay locked in. That's how empires are built. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Greatness is not an event, it's a lifestyle. Anybody can smile during easy seasons. Character reveals itself during storms. Storms expose people. Pressure reveals discipline. Pain reveals maturity. Failure reveals mindset. That's why struggle is necessary. You cannot become mentally strong without resistance. Think about the gym. Weights create resistance. Resistance creates growth. Life works the same way. The obstacles are training your spirit. The delays are building patience. The rejection is building resilience. The loneliness is building independence. Maybe life isn't punishing you. Maybe life is preparing you. Preparing you for responsibility. Preparing you for leadership. Preparing you for impact, because impact requires capacity. And capacity is built through pressure. That's why weak people collapse under success. Success reveals what pressure created. If discipline was not built early, success destroys them later. That's why you must master yourself now. Before money arrives, before influence arrives, before opportunity arrives, because opportunity amplifies who you already are. Listen carefully. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards execution. Everybody has ideas. Everybody has dreams. Everybody says they want more. But wanting means nothing without action. A hungry lion that refuses to hunt still starves. Read that again. Desire alone changes nothing. Execution changes everything. That's why movement matters, even imperfect movement. Stop waiting for perfection. Perfection is procrastination wearing expensive clothes. The perfect plan doesn't exist. The perfect timing doesn't exist. Start anyway, move anyway, build anyway. You correct direction while moving, not while hiding. And understand this, fear never fully disappears. Even powerful people feel fear. The difference is, they move despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is obedience to purpose despite fear. That's leadership. Leadership begins with leading yourself. Can you control your impulses? Can you control your attention? Can you control your emotions? Because if you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead anything else. Self-mastery is the foundation of greatness, not talent. Talent without discipline becomes tragedy. The world is filled with talented people who lacked consistency. People who started strong, then disappeared because they relied on emotion instead of structure. Emotion changes daily, structure remains. That's why routines matter. Wake up with intention. Train your body. Train your mind. Protect your focus. Repeat. Again, 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 again. That repetition builds identity. And identity builds destiny. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. That's why standards matter more than motivation. Standards decide what you tolerate, what you allow, what you accept from yourself. Raise your standards, and your life rises with them. No more lazy mornings. No more wasting hours online. No more pretending to be productive while avoiding real work. Be honest with yourself. Busy is not productive. Movement is not progress. A person can run in circles all day and still go nowhere. Direction matters. Focus matters. Execution matters. That's why high performers eliminate distractions aggressively. Because distractions kill momentum, and momentum is powerful. One disciplined action creates another. One victory creates confidence. One consistent month creates transformation. Little by little, your life changes. That's the beauty of consistency. The change looks invisible at first. Then suddenly, everything is different. The body changes. The mindset changes. The finances change. The confidence changes. And people call it luck. But you remember the process. You remember the nights nobody saw. The mornings nobody understood. The sacrifices nobody applauded. That's why success feels different when it's earned. Earned success creates peace. Because deep inside, you know you became someone stronger to obtain it. And strength matters. Not fake toughness, not ego, real strength. The ability to stay calm under pressure. The ability to remain focused during chaos. The ability to continue when emotions collapse. That's power. And powerful people protect their energy carefully. They do not entertain drama. They do not argue with fools. They do not waste time proving themselves. They stay focused on the mission. Mission creates clarity. Without mission, people drift. And drifting is dangerous. Because if you do not control your direction, the world will control it for you. That's why intentional living matters. Decide who you want to become. Then align your habits with that identity, not your feelings, your habits. Because habits reveal truth. Everybody says they want greatness, but their habits reveal what they truly value. Discipline reveals priorities. How you spend your mornings reveals priorities. How you spend your money reveals priorities. How you spend your attention reveals priorities. Your life is speaking for you every day. What is it saying? Listen carefully. Time is not slowing down. Your life is moving whether you move or not. That's why procrastination is expensive. Every delayed dream costs potential. Every wasted year costs growth. And one day, people wake up old and full of regret, not because they failed, because they never tried seriously. That's the tragedy. Failure teaches, regret haunts. So stop fearing failure. Fear wasting your potential. Fear reaching the end of your life and realizing you lived far beneath your capabilities. Because inside you, there is another level, another mindset, another standard, another version waiting to emerge. But that version requires sacrifice. You cannot evolve while clinging to old habits. Something must go. Maybe it's distractions. Maybe it's laziness. Maybe it's toxic people. Maybe it's your addiction to comfort. But something must die for greatness to live. That's the cost. Everything valuable has a cost. Freedom costs discipline. Leadership costs responsibility. Success costs comfort. Pay the price, because the price of regret is far heavier. And remember this, the strongest people are not always the loudest. Sometimes the strongest person is the one silently rebuilding after life tried to destroy them. The one quietly healing, quietly learning, quietly improving. Never underestimate silent growth. Roots grow in darkness, and deep roots survive storms. That's why patience matters. That's why patience matters. Stop rushing your evolution. A masterpiece takes time. A warrior takes time. A leader takes time. An empire takes time. Respect the process. Fall in love with repetition. Fall in love with discipline. Fall in love with becoming. Because becoming is the real reward. Not applause. Not money. Cool. Oh. Not validation. Transformation. The moment you realize, I am no longer the person I used to be. That's priceless. So keep going, even when progress feels slow, even when nobody notices, even when doubt gets loud. Keep moving, because every disciplined day is building your future silently. Brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision, until one day the life you dreamed about becomes reality. Not because you wished for it, because you built it. Now stand up, focus your mind, strengthen your spirit, protect your vision, and go become impossible to ignore. Listen to me, average is not harmless. Average is dangerous. Average is the dream killer. Average is the voice that whispers, relax, do it tomorrow. You've done enough. No, you haven't done enough, because the graveyard is full of people who had potential. Potential means nothing if it never becomes action. Potential is just unused power, unused strength, unused greatness. And the world does not reward potential. The world rewards execution. You say you want to become extraordinary? Then stop negotiating with average behavior. You can't build an empire with weak habits. You can't build discipline while making excuses. You can't demand greatness from life while giving minimum effort. Look around you. Most people are sleepwalking through life. Wake up, eat, complain, scroll, repeat. That's not living, that's existing. And I refuse to let you exist when you were born to lead. Listen carefully. Every day you wake up, life asks you one question. Who are you becoming? Not who you say you are. Not who you pretend to be online. Not who you hope to become someday. Who are you becoming through your daily actions? Because your habits are voting for your future. Every late night distraction is a vote. Every skipped workout is a vote. Every promise you break to yourself is a vote. And eventually those votes create your identity. You don't become successful overnight. And you become successful one disciplined decision at a time. That's why the little things matter. How you wake up matters. How you speak matters. How you think matters. How you respond under pressure matters. Character is not built in comfort. Character is revealed there. Pressure reveals everything. Pressure reveals your patience. Pressure reveals your discipline. Pressure reveals whether your faith is real or just words. Anybody can talk big when life is easy. Anybody can smile when the money is flowing. Anybody can look confident when the crowd is cheering. But what happens when nobody believes in you? What happens when the doors stay closed? What happens when the people you trusted disappear? That's when the real you shows up. That's when life stops asking what you want and starts asking what you deserve. You see, champions are not made in the spotlight. Champions are made in isolation, in silence, in sacrifice, in those moments where nobody is watching and you still choose discipline. That's power. Can I tell you something? The strongest people in the world are usually the quietest, because they don't need attention. They don't need applause. They don't need validation. They're too busy building, too busy improving, too busy becoming. Meanwhile, weak people are addicted to appearances. They want to look successful instead of becoming valuable. They buy the car before the investment. They chase followers before wisdom. They chase attention before mastery. And then they wonder why their life collapses under pressure. Listen, if your foundation is weak, success will destroy you. That's why you must build from the inside out. Mind first. Spirit second, habits third, results last. Because results are always the final chapter. Everybody sees the reward. Nobody sees the repetitions. Nobody sees the lonely mornings. Nobody sees the discipline. Nobody sees the tears. Nobody sees the nights you almost quit. But you do. And that's enough. You don't need the crowd to understand your mission. Eagles don't waste time explaining themselves to pigeons. Stay focused. You know what destroys most people? Comparison. Comparison is poison. You keep looking at somebody else's chapter 10 while you're still writing chapter 2. Stop it. Your journey is your journey. Some people bloom at 20. Some bloom at 40. Some people rise fast and fall faster. Some people build slowly and last forever. Stop rushing your process. A tree that grows too fast has weak roots, and life respects roots. Can you handle pressure? Can you handle rejection? Can you stay loyal to the mission when emotions change? That's the test. Because motivation is temporary. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is spiritual. Discipline says, I will continue even when I don't feel powerful. That's what separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs act based on feelings. Professionals act based on standards. And your standards determine your future. Raise them. Raise the way you think. Raise the way you speak. Raise the way you work. Raise the way you carry yourself. Stop tolerating weakness in your own mind. Every time you say, I can't, I'm tired, it's too hard, you are training yourself to surrender, and surrender becomes habit. No, we don't surrender here. We adapt, we learn, we adjust, but we do not quit. You know why? Because every great story requires resistance. No movie would matter without conflict. No victory would matter without struggle. No testimony would matter without pain. Pain gives meaning to the breakthrough. That's why you must stop asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Every setback contains instruction. Every failure contains wisdom. Every disappointment contains direction, but only if your ego is quiet enough to learn. Pride destroys more futures than failure ever will. Some people would rather pretend to know everything than humble themselves long enough to grow. Don't be that person. Stay teachable. A closed mind cannot receive new opportunities. That's why reading matters. That's why studying matters. That's why mentorship matters. You need to sharpen your mind constantly, because the world is changing every day. And if you stop learning, you start dying. Listen. There are people your age making excuses, and there are people your age building empires. The difference is focus. One person spends hours consuming. The other spends hours creating. One person waits for opportunity. The other becomes valuable enough to create opportunity. That's the difference. Stop waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself. Bet on yourself. Invest in yourself. Because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to rescue you. This is your life, your responsibility, your vision, your mission. Own it. You know something powerful. Fear never disappears. Even the strongest people feel fear. The difference is they move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. So stop waiting to become fearless. Fearless people don't exist, but disciplined people do. Focused people do. Persistent people do. Be one of them. And let me tell you something else. Your environment matters. If everybody around you is lazy, negative, distracted, and addicted to excuses, eventually that spirit gets on you. Energy transfers. That's why you must protect your circle. Not everybody deserves access to your dreams. Some people speak limitation because limitation is all they know. Don't let small-minded people shrink your vision. You were not created to think small. You were created to dominate your assignment. But domination requires separation. Sometimes you have to walk alone. Sometimes you have to disappear for a season. Sometimes you have to sacrifice temporary comfort for permanent growth. And weak people won't understand that. Let them misunderstand you. Lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. Stay on the path. And understand this clearly. Success is not owned, it's rented. And rent is due every single day. Every day you must prove your commitment again. Every day you must fight distraction again. Every day you must defeat laziness again. This is war. A war against weakness. A war against fear. A war against fear. A war against average. And the battlefield is your mind. Win there first. Control your thoughts. Control your emotions. Control your habits. Because a man who cannot control himself will never control his destiny. So that's why self-respect matters. Keep your word. If you say you'll wake up at 5:30 a.m., wake up. If you say you'll train, train. Free say you'll finish, finish. Because every promise you keep builds trust with yourself, and confidence is built through evidence, not affirmations, not pretending. Evidence. You become confident by doing hard things repeatedly. That's real confidence. You know what weakens people? Easy living. Easy living creates fragile minds. That's why comfort is dangerous. Comfort whispers, slow down. You deserve a break. Take it easy. And before you know it, your hunger disappears. Protect your hunger. Hunger built you. Hunger woke you up early. Hunger kept you studying. Hunger kept you fighting. Never lose that edge. Stay hungry even when you start winning, because success can seduce you into complacency. The moment you think, I made it, that's the moment decline begins. Stay a student forever. The greatest leaders are always learning. The greatest athletes still practice fundamentals. The greatest speakers still prepare. The greatest businessmen still study, because mastery is never finished. There is always another level, and I need you to understand something deeply. You are capable of more than you think, much more. Most people never discover their true power because they quit too early. They stop at discomfort. They stop at criticism. They stop at inconvenience. No tuo. But greatness lives beyond inconvenience. Greatness begins where comfort ends. That's why you must train your mind to embrace difficulty. Difficult workouts. Difficult conversations. Difficult sacrifices. Hard things create strong people. And strong people change the world. Weak people complain about the darkness. Strong people become light. Be the light. Walk into every room with purpose. Walk like your life means something. Speak like your words matter. Work like your family name depends on it. Because one disciplined generation can change an entire bloodline. You could be the turning point, the one who breaks the cycle, the one who changes the future, the one who builds something lasting. But it requires sacrifice. Everything valuable costs something. Time, energy, comfort, pride. Pay the price. Regret costs more. Regret will haunt you. Regret will whisper, you could have been more. Don't live with that voice. Fight now. Build now. Sacrifice now. So one day you can stand tall and say, I gave everything I had. That's victory, not perfection, not fame, not applause, effort, real effort, knowing you emptied the tank, knowing you stayed loyal to the mission, knowing you didn't betray your potential. That's greatness. And greatness is available to anybody willing to suffer for it. So what are you going to do? Stay average? Stay comfortable? Stay distracted? Or are you finally going to become who you were born to be? The clock is ticking, the world is moving, and your future is watching. Now stand up, lock in, and go to war with the weaker version of yourself, because the strongest battle you will ever fight is the battle against average. And you must win. Listen to me carefully. There comes a moment in every person's life where excuses stop working, a moment where the pain becomes too heavy, a moment where the disappointment becomes unbearable, a moment where you finally look at yourself and say, enough, enough wasting time, enough betraying potential, enough living beneath your calling. That moment changes everything. Because transformation does not begin when life gets easier. Transformation begins when you get tired of your own excuses. And let me tell you something right now. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not your friends, not motivation, not luck. You have to save yourself. You have to become the hero of your own story. And heroes are not built in comfort. They're built in battle. Purpose gives pain meaning. A man without purpose becomes weak. A man without purpose becomes distracted. A man without purpose becomes controlled by emotion. But a man with purpose, dangerous. Because purpose creates endurance. When you know why you're suffering, you can survive almost anyhow. Whoa, that's why you need vision. Vision keeps you moving when emotions collapse. Vision reminds you why you started. And without vision, people drift. They waste years reacting instead of building. No, you were not born to drift through life like a leaf in the wind. You were born to lead your own direction. Take ownership of your choices, of your habits, of your mistakes, of your future. Radical ownership changes people. The moment you stop blaming the world, you reclaim your power. Because blaming others keeps you weak. Ownership makes you dangerous. True. You know what separates leaders from followers? Leaders act before they feel ready. Followers wait forever. Leaders understand something important. Clarity comes through movement, not overthinking. You cannot think your way into greatness. You must work your way into greatness. Move. Start the business. Write the chapter. Make the phone call. Take the risk, because hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will. Listen, the cemetery is full of people who had potential. Potential means nothing without execution. The strongest athlete in the world means nothing if he never trains. The smartest person means nothing if they never act. The biggest dream means nothing if it remains trapped in your head. Ideas are cheap. Execution is priceless. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. Anybody can work hard for one day. Anybody can feel motivated for 1 week. But can you stay disciplined for years? That's rare. That's where greatness lives. In repetition, in boring discipline, in ordinary consistency, in showing up long after the excitement disappears. Most people are addicted to excitement. Champions are addicted to progress. There's a difference. One chases feelings, the other chases growth. Be obsessed with growth. Grow mentally. Grow physically, grow spiritually, grow financially. Never become stagnant, because stagnant water rots, and stagnant people decay. Keep evolving. The strongest people constantly reinvent themselves, not because they hate who they are, but because they respect their potential too much to stay the same. You must evolve too. The old mindset cannot carry you into the next level. You need stronger habits. Stronger focus, stronger discipline, stronger boundaries. Everything rises when you rise internally. That's why inner work matters. Most people try to fix their life externally. More money, more attention, more status. But internal chaos eventually destroys external. If your mind is weak, success becomes dangerous. If your discipline is weak, freedom becomes destruction. That's why you must master yourself first. Self-mastery is the real flex. Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you stay disciplined without applause? Can you stay loyal to your standards when temptation appears? That's mastery. Anybody can act disciplined for one day, but who are you when nobody is watching? That's the real test. Integrity means your private life matches your public image. No mask, no performance, no pretending, just character. And character is built through choices. Daily choices, the choice to wake up early, the choice to stay focused, the choice to keep your word, the choice to continue when quitting feels easier. Every powerful life is built through powerful decisions repeated consistently. That's the formula, not lucky, not magic, not shortcuts. Work, focused work, disciplined work, relentless work. And let me tell you something else. You are stronger than you think, far stronger. But pain introduces you to your strength. Pressure introduces you to your endurance.